Today, we will learn the reinforcing and reducing methods of field-form needles. We can achieve the purpose of reinforcing body resistance and eliminate pathogenic factors by applying certain acupuncture manipulations in the clinic. The reinforcing and reducing technique is a method of preventing and treating diseases by needling the acupoints and stimulating the meridian qi in order to encourage healthy qi and relieve disease evil. The reinforcing and reducing method is administered in accordance with a patient's different functional states and the nature of the disease. The reinforcing needling method can be encouraged the healthy qi of human body and restore the weakened functions to vigor. The reducing needling method can relieve disease evil and restore the hyperactive physical state to normal. The manipulations of filiform needles are the main method to achieve reinforcing and reducing. Unitary or comprehensive reinforcing and reducing methods are the two forms of acupuncture reinforcing and reducing. The following are examples of common unitary reinforcing and reducing methods. The first method is reinforcing and reducing by turning and rotating manipulation. The reinforcing method of turning and rotating manipulation is when the needle is inserted to a certain depth and qi arrivals. It is called reinforcing that the needle is rotated with a thumb forward heavily and gently with small amplitude for relatively a short period. Inversely, it is known as reducing that the needle is rotated with the thumb forward gently and heavily with a large amplitude for relatively a long period. Reinforcing and reducing by lifting thrusting manipulation. After the needle is inserted from shallowly to deeply and qi arrives, the reinforcing method is obtained by lifting the needle gently while thrusting the needle heavily. Inversely, when inserting the needle deeply to shallow, thrusting gently and lifting heavily. That is called the reducing method. Reinforcing and reducing by slow and rapid manipulation. The reinforcing method is conducted by inserting the needle slowly to a given depth and withdrawing the needle rapidly. Conversely, inserting the needle rapidly and withdrawing the needle slowly is called the reducing method. Reinforcing and reducing by puncturing along and against the direction of the meridian. The direction of the needle, which is along the direction of the meridian, is to reinforce, otherwise is to reduce. Here, it refers to the direction of the needle tip for reinforcing or reducing. When inserting the needle, the tip of the needle along in the direction of the meridians is reinforcing. On the contrary, the tip of the needle refers against the meridian is reducing. Reinforcing and reducing by means of respiration. The patients are required to do abdominal breathing. Inserting the needle as the patient exhales and withdrawing the needles as the patient inhales is called reinforcing. On the contrary, inserting the needle when the patient inhales and withdrawing the needle when they exhales is called reducing. For reinforcing and reducing by keeping the hole open or closed. On withdrawing the needle, pressing the needle hole quickly to close it calls the reinforcing. Shaking the needle to enlarge the needle hole and keeping the hole open is called reducing. For even reinforcing and reducing movement, when inserting the needle into the acupoint and the needling sensation appears, lift, thrust, and rotate the needle evenly, then withdraw the needle. For comprehensive reinforcing and reducing method, we will study setting the mountain on fire and penetrating heaven coolness mainly. Setting the mountain on fire is mostly used to treat cold bee syndrome, stubborn numbness, and deficient cold syndrome. During the operating of setting the mountain on fire, we divide the depth of the acupoint into 3 parts. including the superficial layer, meridian fair, and deep layer, also known as heaven, human, and earth. The method is to insert the needle to 3 layers, from superficial layer to deep layer, to do thrust heavily and lift gently for 9 times, and then return to the superficial layer, what is called 1 degree. Repeat the process for several degrees until the warm sensation appears. Then the needle is retained at the deep layer. Penetrating heaven coolness is mostly used to treat heat bead syndrome and other heat syndromes. In this method, insert the needle into 3 layers, from deep layer to superficial layer, to lift heavily and thrust gently in each layer for 6 times, what is called a degree. Repeat the process for several degrees until the cool sensation appears. Then the needle is retained at the superficial layer.